Because of AIDS and other diseases, such as malaria affecting Africa, life expectancies are decreasing rapidly while mortality rates are increasing. Poverty, ineffective institutions, social norms, and obstruction by pharmaceutical companies have all contributed to a lack of action in fighting HIV/AIDS. Also, people and leaders have misconceptions about antiretroviral drugs used to treat diseases. They say that they are toxic and therefore they cause confusion. Western funds and interest groups greatly help with AIDS epidemic, but the world must be aware of the enormity of the problem and must be willing to help. Western pharmaceutical companies are more concerned about their profits rather than the people's welfare, and so consequently, they battle the use of generic products. The increasing poverty across the continent has made a breeding ground for infectious diseases. Immune systems are weakened and people are more susceptible. Because of the tropical climate, Africa has the largest rate of malaria. This disease kills children in enormous numbers and makes people more likely to get HIV/AIDS. Cost-effective treatments are provided for these African families, but many still cannot afford them.
Because of AIDS, 6,000 people die each day in Africa. Also, 11,000 people become infected per day. In 2008, it was estimated that 2 million people died from AIDS. To help reduce these numbers, Africans can purchase bed nets for $10 or one malaria treatment for $1, but many people can't even afford this. Although many people die per day, the population is actually increasing because families have more children due to the belief that some will not survive. Not just the people who have the diseases are affected. For example, a child may not have the chance to go to school because of an ill parent. To make matters worse, some governments do not recognize the effects of AIDS and how to treat it. A few countries like Senegal have had success because they have raised awareness and promoted prevention strategies. Only 1 in 5 Africans have received treatment for diseases, and it would cost about $3 billion per year to create a program that gets supplies and treatment to all of the people in Africa.
Multiple organizations, African and international, are helping to aid the people of Africa in their fight with these diseases. Red Cross volunteers have distributed nets to help prevent malaria in Togo and Niger. Organizations like Malaria No More and Nothing But Nets have also been helping to distribute nets across Africa. UNAIDS is also offering aid. They are working to provide background information and to educate children about AIDS. The organization UNICEF is offering ideas to treat all of the individuals being affected while helping nations save money. The United Nations has also pressured African leaders into admitting that disease is a problem in Africa that needs to be addressed. UN Secretary Kofi Annan created the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria in 2001. However, it has not been very successful because of a lack of funding. Other countries have also created programs to aid Africa. The United States created PEPFAR, or the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. Even though the organization was a success, it is also often criticized.
The continent of Africa will be negatively impacted if aid and resources to help cure and prevent diseases are not available. Economies are or will begin to suffer. Life expectancy will continue to lower and mortality rate will continue to rise. Children may have to miss out on their education to stay home and care for sick parents or relatives. This situation is important to the rest of the world because the economy of Western nations will be negatively impacted if they have less African nations to trade with. The diseases thriving in Africa relate to what we have been studying in class. First, urbanization affects the diseases because people are living closer together and in terrible conditions. Diseases can spread more quickly. Because of internal conflict, supplies will not be able to be distributed to those who need it. Governments will not be stable due to the conflict, so they will not be able to help citizens. Next, debt can affect the diseases in Africa. If nations are in debt, supplies can't be obtained and distributed, so people will have to rely on other nations for help. Finally, corrupt governments can cause the diseases to spread. If the governments and their leaders are corrupt, the money will not go towards curing people of their illnesses.